Yesterday, a friend asked me how I approach arguments, disagreements, and fight between me and my husband. And the answer was, to my surprise, as I reflected upon that, because I realized that over the past 7 years or so, there was maybe one kind of an argument that we had. And I told her that I don't even remember how we resolved that one because it's been so long. It's been like 6 years since we kind of had that a little bit, a big like argument. And that answer surprised me too, into seeing how much of peace that I get to experience in my relationship, my romantic relationship. And that I know is like not the norm for most people. For a lot of us, we get into fights and or arguments, or we get into relationships where we feel like our needs are not met. We feel like we're not met with love. And I'm just surprised to see how peaceful and stable this relationship has been. And so I wanted to share with you what I see on what might have led to this. And I believe that most importantly, when it comes to experiencing peace in a relationship, it of course depends on both partners, right? Both partners have to be wanting peace. Both partners have to be valuing peace and loving peace, wanting peace. Because if you want peace, but the other person want drama, want to start fights and arguments, right? It's hard to have peace. So relationships take two people. But what I want to say is that you have the power. Your power does not go away just because the person in a relationship is starting fights or arguments, it's not peaceful. Doesn't mean that you lose the power to have a peaceful relationship, because the peaceful relationship first begins within you. That relationship has to come from you. Most importantly, the relationship with yourself. And what I see is that for a lot of people, when we are caught up in relationship drama like having conflicts, or whether it's like problems like this guy rejecting me, this guy ghosting me, right? Or giving me breadcrumbs of love, or whatever that may be. Whenever we're experiencing some dissatisfaction with our relationships, what I've seen is that it's because there is a part of us that kind of is entertained by that drama, even though we consciously don't want it, right? We don't want that consciously in our conscious awareness. We don't want it. We want to have peace. That's what we want. However, there is a part of us, a part of you that thinks that relationships are supposed to be dramatic. Relationships are supposed to be like drama, right? There's a part of us that is addicted to the drama. And you can see it in things like watching K-drama or some movies, right? It really hooks us our little brains, our inner child, like our little egos, because it hooks us up because because of the thrill, right? The thrill of it, the thrill of what's the highs and the lows. So the highs and the lows are very addictive to us. We feel like that high and the low is like, oh, the exhilaration, and then the drama, the sadness of the drama, and then after the sadness of the drama, then there is like finally this little relief, right? And we don't know how long this relief is going to last. Maybe it's going to erupt again, and then we have to like watch out for what's going to happen. And then another turmoil happens, right? So when we're watching a movie, like a drama, a romantic drama, that type of a movie, you see that like these ups and downs, the highs and the lows are very addictive to us, to our minds. And just like that, in our real life, in our relationships, we are drawn to people that cause us drama. We are drawn to people who don't treat us well, who trigger these wounds inside of us, because a part of us is kind of entertained by it. And I know that that is like very kind of twisted in a way, but that is what our psyches do to us, right? Because it wants to resolve that conflict. It wants to resolve that conflict that you had in your childhood. So that type of drama, the drama that you had in your childhood, like you want to resolve that drama. And that is why that drama feels so appetizing. It feels so alluring because we're kind of loving that drama. And that is the first thing that I see that of the reason why most people struggle to have peaceful relationships is because there is a part of us that is entertained by the drama. And so, one way to reflect back onto it is to reflect a question to yourself, like what part of me is drawn to this situation? Right? What part of me is drawn to that, whether that's a narcissistic, judgmental partner, or whether that is an emotionally avoidant partner? What part of me is entertained by it? And that is the reason for a lot of us suffering, because even though we want to change the partner, we kind of like the pattern. We kind of like the trigger that they do it in us. Like we feel like we have to resolve this situation. And so we're more drawn to these drama, drawn to these conflicts because we feel like this drama is where love is going to come from. Love is going to come out of the drama. So we try to resolve and we try to fight against the other person, try to fight against the conflict, thinking that love will somehow arise out of this situation. Because we are tying a part of us believe that love comes from drama instead of just love is. Love is just peace. Love is readily available. Love is simple, right? So a part of us believes that love has to be complicated, has to be complex, you have to resolve resolve this entire math equation. You have to resolve the conflicts and dramas, and you have to fix yourself, change yourself, earn this or that in order to receive love. Which leads on to my second point, which is that whenever our relationships don't feel peaceful, it's because there is a lack of love. And you may say, like, of course, right? Of course. Duh, right? If there is love, why would there be a conflict in the first place? But most importantly, that love is the love that is inside of us. So there is a part of us that feels like there is a lack of love, right? Lack of love within ourselves, not just with other people, but like inside of us. So what happens when we feel like there is a lack of love is that we settle for love that isn't actually fulfilling. We try to be in relationships with people whose love is actually very like transactional or very restrictive, whose love is very conditional. We settle for these things because we haven't experienced that bountiful, readily available, always available, the love that is always available inside of us. So we believe that that is a type of love. And it's because we don't have a reference point. We don't have a reference point on what actual love feels like, what actual peaceful love feels like. We don't have a reference point for what unconditional love, what God's love, the universe love, right? The love that is readily available. We don't know how that feels like. And that is why we are drawn to drama in relationships, conflicts in relationships, problems in relationships, because we think that that is love. And so the way on changing the patterns in your relationship into that of peace, into that of happiness, into that of stability, is to first allowing yourself to receive unconditional love, allowing yourself to receive love, even just by being you, just for being you in everything that you are, no matter how you look like, no matter what you do, no matter how you act, right? We want to experience that love that encapsulates us at all times. And when we start to experience that love inside of us, then we choose partners that also feel that inside of them too. We start to see people, right? We start to become drawn, or we are drawn, and they are also drawn to us because they feel the same way that we feel, which is peace. We feel peace inside. We feel an overflow of love inside. And those people also feel peaceful, whole, and love inside of themselves. So instead of like two half cups trying to force each other to fill the needs that we haven't met inside of ourselves, instead of coming to relationships from an empty cup, needing other people to meet us, rather than that, we are being the whole love that we are. We exude the love that we are. And when we exude the love that we are, then the other person, we will only be available for people who are also exuding the love as they are. And of course, when you surround with these people give you that unconditional love that you want. Because they are experiencing that inside of themselves, just as how you are, right? So the paradox of all of this is that even though the relationships take two people, it all starts from you. It all begins with you. It all begins with peace inside of you, which is why I believe that whenever you move toward and shift toward inner peace, relationships in fact feel very like simple. It's so simple. Like there is no drama anymore. There is nothing to resolve. Like you're just like, okay, is this person the match for you, or is this not? Like it's so clear. Like you know it from a mile away. And whether that person is what you want or not, it's so easy. And if they also turn out to be not the one for you, you aren't afraid of letting them go either, because you already have that love, that peace inside of you. And ironically, when we have that love and peace inside of us, then the people that we engage in relationships, we interact in relationships, we can receive more of their love, right? We can only receive love when we have received it in our own self. And which is why I believe that inner peace is like everything. Once we shift toward feeling whole and complete inside of us, you see that there is nothing outside of you that you need to fix or change or try to resolve. Everything is just perfect. It's just about you choosing to whether you engage with this pattern, engage with this person and their problems. We have the power to choose at all times. And that is where your power resides, my love. And that is where all relationships come from. It's from your heart, from your own soul, your direct connection to love, the all that is.